approves the promotion of Todd Halsey to the position of Executive Director with a salary adjustment to $250,000 per year, which promotion and salary adjustment shall be effective January 1, 2026. And 2, authorizes the chair, with advice of counsel, to finalize, execute, and deliver an employment agreement with Mr. Halsey upon terms and conditions, including the Commission's rights of termination and the employee's severance, that are substantially consistent with the terms and conditions of Mr. Page's existing employment agreement, except that the salary shall reflect the salary approved by this motion, and the expiration date of the agreement shall be December 31, 2028.
Thank you, sir. Board members, we're in need of a motion to approve.
Motion for approval. Second.
We have a motion to approve the second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor, please note your position by saying aye.
Aye.
Those in opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Thank you all. Moving next to the next item on the agenda, Mr. Halsey. Are you on the agenda next?
Thank you, Mayor Glover, and thank you all so much. I'm honored to be your next executive director, and I know I have some really big shoes to fill. So thank you again. The action items for 6B through 6F are recommended actions by the commissioners of the member jurisdictions of Chesapeake, Hampton, Newport News, Norfolk, Portsmouth, and Virginia Beach, which we know are the 6 cities of HRT for the distribution of the Hampton Roads Regional Transit Funds. Action items 6B through 6F will be considered in a block vote unless otherwise noted by members of the 6 cities. So the first item B, is the Orcutt Transfer Center, Project 2025-01D. It's an amendment to the project funding agreement. HRTAC staff recommends to the 6 cities of HRTAC that participate in HRT that they approve the Hampton Roads Transit's request to amend the project funding agreement for Project 2025-01D, the Orcutt Transfer Center. HRT is requesting that the project funding agreement be amended to increase the project cost from $516,000 to $608,000. This amendment does not affect the HRTF funds contributed to the project, which will remain at $258,000. There are no fiscal impacts to the HRTF due to this amendment, as the increase is being funded with other transit funds. The next item C, is the transit bus expansion project. It's expansion heavy-duty large buses. 2025-01H, amendment to the project funding agreement. HRTAC staff recommends to the 6 cities of HRTAC that participate in HRT that they approve Hampton Roads Transit's request to amend the project funding agreement for Project 2025-01H. HRTAC is requesting that the project funding agreement be amended to decrease the total project cost from $8,143,013 to $2,198,000. This revision is due to a change in funding strategy and does not affect the HRTF funds contributed to the project, which will remain at $2,198,000. So there are no fiscal impacts to the HRTF due to this amendment. Item D is New Bus Operating Division South Project 2022-01E, amendment to the project funding agreement. HRTAC staff recommends to the 6 cities of HRTAC that participate in HRT's request to project funding to amend the project funding for this agreement. It's for New Bus Operating Division Southside. HRT requests to amend the project funding agreement to align with the funding match percentage splits detailed in the decision brief. This amendment does not affect the amount of HRTF funds contributed, so there are no fiscal impacts to the HRTF due to this amendment. Item E is RTS Non-Revenue Fleet Project 2025-01J. It's an amendment to the project funding agreement. HRTAC staff recommends to the 6 cities of HRTAC that participate in HRT that they approve HRT's request to amend this project funding agreement for Project 2025-01J. HRT is requesting the project funding agreement be amended to increase the HRTF funding to $148,000 to fund the full project cost. HRRTF funding for this project will increase from $5,920 to $148,000. And the increase will be provided by unobligated HRRTF funding. And finally, item F, RTS Bus Operations Program Cost Project 202601C, amendment to the project funding agreement. HRTAC staff recommends that the 6 cities of HRT that participate in HRT that they approve HRT's request to amend the project funding agreement for project 202601C. HRT is requesting that the project funding agreement be amended to increase the project cost from $23,300,000 to $31,690,000. HRT indicated that the increase is primarily due to labor costs related to delivery of service, as well as an increase in security technology and facility services. This amendment requires an increase in the approved HRTF funding in the amount of $8,390,000, which will be provided by unobligated Hampton Roads Regional Transit funding. Mr. Chair, we recommend taking these items 6B through 6F as a block vote. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hallisey. Thank you, Mr. Hallisey. Are there any questions from the members? Seeing none, Councilor Nglima, would you please provide the suggested motion?
Yes, sir. This would be acted upon by the 6 cities of HRTAC that participate in Hampton Roads Transit. The motion is to approve action items 6B, 6C, 6D, 6E, and 6F, including specifically the suggested motions included in the agenda packet for each such item, which action items relate to Hampton Roads Transit Projects 2025-01D, 2025-01H, 2020-01E, and 2025-01J, and 2026-01C.
Thank you, Councilor Nglima. Members, do we have a motion to approve?
Move approval, Gray.
We have a second? Thank you, sir. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, those in favor of adopting the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Thank you all. Our next item, item G, presentations and resolutions of appreciation. I will now come forward and ask Lynn Cohen, Supervisor Hipple, and Chris Hall to join me up to the front of the room. And Mr. Page. Come on up here. This is your day. Come on, close by, okay? So I'll start off by saying this resolution of appreciation is from Ms. Lynn Cohen, HRTAC CFO. Lynn has worked for HRTAC for the past 6 years and has been our CFO since October 2024. I'm now going to ask Mr. Page, who worked real close with Ms. Cohen, to offer some remarks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I knew I couldn't get out of this meeting today without saying something.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to let you off that easy. I'd like to just reflect for just a minute. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for a few minutes. Lynn Cohen came to us from, she was employed in the city of Chesapeake at the time. She was very attractive to HRTAC and very competitive because of the fact we knew we had the toll road coming. She was working at the expressway down in Chesapeake, as well as she had a very detailed mind because she used to be a forensic auditor. You know, where the Accountability Commission says she fit in extremely well with that. Saying many times over, Lynn was what I referred to as my accounting conscious mind. When I'd want to do something, she would come in and say, well, that's not GAAP or Gatsby. And I'd learn about all of those acronyms really quick. And she was very professional in how she walked through things. And she's just been a real joy to work with at HRTAC. So Lynn, I just want to convey from all the staff at HRTAC how proud we are that you've gotten to this point, as well as myself later, I might say the same thing. But just as you go about the rest of your life, I want you to reflect fondly on the great work that you did here at HRTAC. Lynn brought us up into what's now our 10th audit with no findings. as well as we've gone through several bond financings and TIFIA loans on the ULIN, and we've been very successful in moving that forward as a commission. So, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn the floor back over to you for presentation of the framed resolution.
Thank you, sir. Let's celebrate Lynn at this time. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you so much for your work. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your time off. Can I present this to you?
Absolutely.
Come on over here, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas. Our next star we want to recognize with a certificate of appreciation is for Chris Hall, former VDOT Hampton Roads District Engineer. Chris became VDOT's Hampton Roads District Engineer back on April 2018. He's been a great partner to HRTAC throughout his tenure. And Kevin, again, is going to offer some comments.
Yeah, yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. It's a dangerous thought, Chris, on that. Many times later, when you have projects underway, you're building houses, things like that, you get to know your contractors. And one of the relationships that we have at HRTAC with VDOT is that many times they are general manager for our general contracted services through our spas, and also working with the HRBT tunnel, which has been kind of a big task for that. I got to know Chris very quickly because he's a very personal person. But when you get to know these people and you meet with them as a project team once a week, and maybe it's day and night, you and I spend a lot of time together, I realized very quickly I needed to pick this guy's brain because he had done a lot more than just been out being a typical PE from VMI that wanted to do things in a very, very rigorous fashion. So I'll tell you a story about Chris. He's the only person I know in the history of the United States, probably except for the president, that has actually imported, changed, and closed down the Mississippi River to navigation. Okay. So that was, when I heard that, it really sparked my interest to find out more about what Chris used to do. I think it was the lower Mississippi, was it? Or the middle Mississippi? Middle Mississippi. Chris used to be in charge of the entire navigation for the Middle Mississippi for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and spent some time in the Army as well. So I've heard many stories. I won't repeat on that today. But I think that it was very interesting to watch Chris as he was going forward into his retirement. When I called him one day and he says, "I'm listening to all these old CTV audios, trying to fill my time, because, you kind of get parked while you're burning time towards your retirement." And he says, "You keep showing up in all these agendas." So he learned very quickly as well. So he's gotten a few nuggets to get me back, and I'm sure he will later. So, but Chris, it's been a real joy working with you and your team. You've really laid things up with Mike Davis down there. You're probably ready to go with him. And certainly we will all miss you in Hampton Roads, but also remember the fact that in my parting comment about Chris, when I was sharing with him some of my travels, he says, "Well, I've been up there." And I said, "Oh, really?" He says, "Yeah, I was involved in the dismantling of one of the first nuclear power plants in the United States." So Chris has a real broad brush knowledge and experience, and I'm sure he and I and others might want to get together and write a book about ramblings of our careers. But thank you, Chris, for all your time and the great work you've done here in Hampton Roads.
Kevin, you want to come on? Thanks, Chris. As we move right along with all this appreciation, this is so good. We have a resolution of appreciation for Supervisor Hipple, HRTAC member and finance chair. Supervisor Hipple has been an HRTAC member since January 2015. Wow, sir, that's a nice long run. And was finance chair since June 2019. So we've had consistency under Supervisor Hipple. Of course, Kevin and Supervisor Hipple go a long way back. So I'm going to turn over the floor to him again to offer some comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Vice Chair, one of the things I want to say about you, Mr. Ripple, I'm going to roast you for a minute, is that the first time I met him, I said, this is kind of an unusual guy. I said, he kind of has a little country dialect, no offense to we all know you. And I said, but I always pick him out of a crowd. It was Andrew McClellan that said, I'm going to wear black on my last day as a tribute to you because you always wear a black suit. So we can always pick out Mr. Hipple. And I love it because I was talking this week and I said, where are you headed? And he goes, I'm going home to get my black suit. I got to go to a function. So, but one of the fun things that I've been able to do in this career is that whenever I needed something signed, like bond documents or checks or anything like that, those of you who don't know Michael Hipple, he's a very active builder here in the region. And when I say in the region, I mean in the region. I had to go as far as, a Capron to find him. He was building a firehouse. And I said, well, he used to be a firefighter, captain of the fire department, James City County Volunteers, and he was building a firehouse. So I got to learn all about building a firehouse. And then one day he called me, I said, well, I've got to come over and get you signed some critical documents. He says, well, come over and meet me at the house I'm building. Well, I had no idea the house you were building, and he says, we call it the big house. And I just said, okay, well, maybe it's a couple of 1,000 square feet, maybe 3 or 4. I get over there, and how big was that house?
The whole thing?
Yeah.
The whole project?
Yeah.
25,000.
25,000 square feet.
That's a big house.
All right, that's a big house, okay? So I go driving down this lane, and you kind of, Pine Tree Lane, you see the kind of the front door and a few other things. And the further I went down the lane, the house kept going like this. I couldn't even see the James River, because I don't know the James River. And then he goes, hey, let me show you the rest of this place. Well, the swimming pool over the side, and there was a multiple car garage and the stable house. It just kept going. And so I had to take a picture of it. I wish I had to put up here today. But I think they used that in a magazine somewhere. You won an award on that. But the most memorable moment for me was knowing that Hipple was a real guy. When I say that, real working class elected. He was out working on a project, and we had to meet with Kaufman and Knowles. I think y'all are here. And we had to get the 2018 document signed. And he says, well, closest place to the job site is going to be this library. So I show up, he comes in, and we're signing the documents, and circular salt chips are falling off of his T-shirt all over the documents as it went along. So Mr. Hipple, I'm really going to say I've really enjoyed the times that I've spent with you. And, you've coined a lot of phrases that are going to outlive you here as an elected. Be a bear, be a grizzly is one of them. And I know that term really works. We went to Richmond with you and at that time Mayor Johnson to try to make a run for tolling authority and purchase of the Elizabeth River tunnels. I think that's what it was. And he rolled over and laid it out to the Secretary of Transportation at the time, Shannon Valentine, and she was so taken aback. She'd take her whole team out in the hallway. And when she came back in, she says, we just don't think you do it. He says, well, Madam Secretary, you're going to be a bear, you're going to be a grizzly. And so that's how that conversation went. So, but I could tell a lot more stories that are just absolutely fact of a great regional leader you've been. So thank you very much and the experience that I've had with you in time to know you.
Thank you, sir.
You're here.
Thank you.
Come on, take this. And I got to say this, Kevin, I've worked with Mr. Hipple, and he's one of the smartest guys I know. I've learned a lot from him being on the commission. But I got to believe that he's a secret agent. And Men in Black just takes over my mind. And in his closet, there has to be like a line of black suits and a special door, for sure. Thanks, sir. Thank you for your service. Next, wow, this next one is important because we want to certainly know that he's been offered resolutions and a certificate, but this guy, I call him the GOAT, and many of you who know sports know what the GOAT means. Kevin Page, he is the greatest of all time, for HRTAC. His 10 years here have been phenomenal. It has helped the region move people, but more importantly, his knowledge about transportation and how to do it is unsurpassed. I haven't met anybody that is more knowledgeable about his craft or his people. And I just want to say on behalf of myself, thank you, man. Thank you for your service. And we're going to recognize you right now. We're going to recognize you because you've been a director here since 2015. Also, we have some folks here that want to make some comments on your behalf. So I'm going to ask Bob Crum to come up, and certainly anybody else on the board who would like to make a comment. You're welcome to do that, or give Kevin his salutations. Is that the right word?
Sounds good.
Before he leaves us. Okay, so there you go. Bob, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate just a couple minutes to say a few words about my colleague and friend, Kevin Page. So I couldn't figure out what to get him and Mr. Hipple and Mr. Hall. So I thought one last box lunch before they go might be the best gift. Right? So how many of those you think you've eaten in 10 years, Kevin? In all seriousness, not to repeat where great comments have been made, I've known Kevin Page since 2008. I got to Richmond, and Kevin, I'll never forget the first time I called you, right? I had a problem about a rail crossing, and I called this guy named Kevin Page at DRPT, and I thought I had this insurmountable problem, right? You solved it for me immediately. And to me, the 17 years I've known Kevin Page, that encapsulates Kevin, right? Anytime I call him with a challenge, anytime there's a problem, he has an idea for how to solve it, and he attacks it head on. He always picks up the phone. He's always been there. When I got here in 2015, I had no idea that he would be coming here as well. And when you landed at HRTAC, I'm like, wow, this could work, right? And boy, has it. Kevin, I think back 10 years ago when we first started here, but $6 billion of transportation investment, $6 billion. What you've done for this region is a generational impact. What you've all done working with Kevin for this region is a generational impact. And I got to tell you, I just... but I don't know anyone that works harder. I think a lot of you will know, right? He doesn't always care about what day of the week it is. He's not always too worried about what time of day it is. You call Kevin Page, he picks up the phone and he calls back, and he's always done that. Now, Kevin and I are early risers, and we like to get to work early. For 10 years, my phone has gone off at 7:07 a.m. And boy, Kevin, on the way to work, we've solved a lot of problems together. We've shared a lot of information about our families. What I really appreciate a lot about Kevin, though, is, you know, we can be dealing with the most significant and substantial challenge. It might be 9 at night, and the last thing you've asked me is, Bob, how's your dad doing? Bob, how are the kids doing? So I just can't say enough about what he's meant to this region, what he's meant to our organization. Kevin, I've been very proud to call you a colleague. I've been even prouder to call you a friend. So I wish you and Tamara the very best as you get into this next exciting chapter of your life. And this isn't goodbye, but just look forward to give me a ring at 7:07 some morning. I'll always pick up for you, okay? But, you know, one thing Kevin always talked about, Mr. Hipple, I see you brought your helmet, right? So we honored Mr. Hipple at the last HRTPO board meeting up at Christopher Newport University. Chris Hall, you got to get back up here because, come on up, because one of the things Kevin always talks about is the three-legged stool, okay? And that three-legged stool being HRTAC, being VDOT, and being the TPO. So we were trying to think about, with all this construction, what we might be able to give these guys. And Mr. Hipple, if you wouldn't mind coming up, I'd love to get a photo. Chris Hall, one for you as well. The three of you with your gold-plated helmets. And Kevin and Chris, we have a little something for you as well from the TPO and the PDC. Here you go, Kevin.
All right, well, thank you.
This isn't real gold, I already checked.
Very good.
Class?
Thank you, guys.
You got $10.
And certainly, we want to once again thank all of those individuals for their service to this organization and to the region. And this is Kevin's resolution, so we want to take another picture of Kevin and his resolution. Come on over here, sir. Mr. Hippel, jump in here with us. Come on in, come on in here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother. All right. Is there anybody that wanted to make any comments at this time? Mr. Hippel, so you have the floor.
I wanted to take a few minutes to tell you about Kevin. You know, it wouldn't matter what time of the day it was, what problems you have or anything else. Didn't matter where you were in the region. He could usually find a solution. If he couldn't, he would research it and find out where he could get that solution and what he could do. The vast knowledge that Kevin has from the different positions he's been in is amazing. And we talked to many times going up to Richmond and anywhere else in the area here. And he was always, there was another story. Of course, I was telling my stories, which I thought were more important, but he had his stories. But he would always tell a story about what he had done, where he had been, and all the things he'd helped with. And I got to say one thing about Kevin. Not only have we worked together, I consider him a friend, and he has done so much for not only my community, but everybody's, and he's willing to work across the lines. He doesn't say, well, I'm not going to help that, or I'm not going to. He's like, what can I help you with? What can I do? Where can I move things forward? And I got to hand it to him. With his direction, we've been able to do what we've been able to do in transportation because of what he was able to do. And we'd go up to Richmond, and he'd say, don't do that. They'll get you there. Do this. Slide in that way. Tell them this. And just good advice for the whole region. So, Kevin, I want to thank you for everything you've done, and I could tell him some really good stories. But, you know, one time we went up to Richmond, and the group that was going with us, they were eating $200, $300 meals, and Kevin and I were in this little dive eating a sandwich that we split together. I think we spent like $14 on the whole meal between the two. But, you know, that's the way he looked. He's like, you know, this is money that is entrusted to us, and even with meals or anything else, I'm going to make sure that we did, and we laughed about the others that were getting probably a really good meal too. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate everything.
Our next item is item number 7, and Mr. Hallisey, these are information items. Would you please take the floor at this time?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Moving forward, we have the informational items under section 7 of the agenda. We have the HRTAC monthly financial report. We also have VDOT updates. And please note our next HRTAC regular meeting is scheduled for Thursday, April 16th, 2026 at 12:30 right here in this room. Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. And now we have reached item number 8, which is adjournment. But before we adjourn, on behalf of the HRTAC and all of the members, I want to wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. Please be safe, enjoy your family and friends, and let's look forward to the work that we will all do together to make our region stronger and better in the new year. Take care, and this meeting is adjourned.